Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Thank you, ma. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, ma. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you too, ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Abhita, ma'am, I'm actually streaming this to my personal account in YouTube, so no need for recording it. Adange stream I.
Okay, fine. Actually, no, I need to stream it in our account also. That's why YouTube.
Oh, is it, ma'am? Okay. Let me see if
So
I
that's
can.
why I just want to record. Give permission, no?
One second.
Good afternoon, Abhita.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Special recording permission எனக்கு தெரியல ma'am. I'm not able to see anything particularly. Share screen permission இருக்கு.
You need to go to participants, Aditya.
Yes, ma'am. And then
There
individually.
you need to click on my near my name more, and you can.
Oh yes, saw it, ma'am. Allowed to record local files.
Yes.
Are you able to record it now?
Yeah. I've done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Students, ensure all of you are on mute part during the call so that it doesn't disrupt the flow. Without doubts, we can deal with it once we have completed the entire presentation. Okay. So this will ensure that the presentation runs on time and we are able to make proper leads in terms of what I want to present. There's quite a bit of material which we'll be covering today. So I want to ensure that the material is covered within the allocated span of time. So without doubts, please reserve them towards the end so that we can clear them through the doubt clearing sessions. Okay. Hope that all of you students have a lot to gain from today's presentation. Let's wait for a few more minutes. I think, ma'am, roughly how many students are we expecting now? Abhita, ma'am?
Yeah, Aditya.
How many students are we expecting roughly, ma'am?
Near about 300.
300. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So we'll wait for a few more minutes before.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Students, I hope everybody is having your notebooks in hand and you have completed that questionnaire which I've sent you yesterday. Have you done it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Switch on your video so that we can see you. Everyone switch on your video so that we can see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can, just ask your parents also to join you if they are at home. Yes.
Arun.
How can I pin the host?
Sorry.
Sonia.
Aditya,
Yes, ma'am.
you can start.
We can start? Okay, ma'am. I thought about 300 are coming, only 180 plus are there in the call.
Miss, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
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 Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon. Ma'am, so are we going to wait for the remaining students or can we start?
Yeah, I think we can start because it's almost 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to invite the speaker of the day, Mr. Aditya Sambamurthy, the founder and CEO of the EdTech firm Inlistro and Steer Clear Solutions, which is based on artificial intelligence. He has completed his bachelor's degree in computer engineering from National University of Singapore. He is also the recipient of the Young Achievers Award 2021. We are indeed elated to welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Ma.
It's my privilege to welcome our Secretary, sir, Madam Correspondent, Principal Madam, Vice Principal Madam, staff and students of Mahatma Gandhi Centenary Vidyalaya. Students, you are going to get a lot of inputs about various career options available. I hope everyone is having your notebook with your analysis results in hand. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Avita ma'am. Thank you. I thank the management of Mahatma Gandhi for having given me this opportunity to address the young minds of the country. And I think it is an utter privilege to be able to speak to you about career choices and how you need to think about them because you are going to shape the future of our country. And I believe that with the youngest population in the world, India's youngsters are going to be the rulers of tomorrow. So I think it's very important you have the right perspective in mind. And before we start the situation or the entire presentation, I'd like to first tell you students, congratulations. I think you've really taken the first step. You know, whenever you go to plan anything big in future, the first step is to take the attempt to do something. That attempt is not taken by 99% of people. So the attempt involves just trying to reach out and participate in events that are organized to help you, trusting the institution that they would actually do only that which is beneficial for you, and spending your time in such a valuable learning exercise which is outside what you're doing in your classrooms, right? So in your classrooms, whatever you learn is confined to your syllabus, it's confined to the subjects. No doubt you learn a lot of innovative things which you must pay attention and focus to. But at the same time, you really need to develop a perspective of what is coming ahead of you, what is there out for you outside school, outside your class 10. What is going to happen? How is life going to progress? You need to start thinking about that. It gives you a strong edge about a lot of other competitors. You know, today the economy is becoming very competitive. Lots of people are coming in, lots of new examinations, lots of new tests that you need to qualify to be able to become someone in society. So it becomes all the more important to be the early bird that catches the worm, right? So it is the first step in this direction that you're taking today. So I request all of the students to be attentive to what we are speaking and covering today. Any point you have any questions, please feel free to note them down. And when we open for the question and answer session, I'd want you to come forward and ask. And in the meanwhile, if I point out to any of you and if I ask you questions, please come forward and answer. We are amongst, a group of people who are all known to you, your teachers, your principal, your fellow students. Nobody is going to make fun of everything. So please come forward and answer. That is very, very important. Guys, people, those who think that others are going to make fun or are very self-conscious, they will never get to learn the art of speaking. So you should learn how to come forward, you should answer boldly to whatever is told to you. Nobody knows everything, guys. I don't know everything. I'm sure everyone here doesn't know everything. So everyone is a learner, right? There is no teacher-learner equation here, particularly in this session. I learn so many things from you, you learn so many things from me. So it's just an exchange process, right? So there is no need to feel self-conscious, no need to feel shy. Just be brave, come forward and answer, right? Those who answer are the ones who can really start thinking. Only when you hear the words come out of your own mouth, only when your mind thinks of those things and asks those questions that you need to, you will get the clarity that you need. So I encourage each and every one of you in the call to come forward and participate and do the best that you can, right? We've been given a short session. We'll make the best use of it. And we're going to have many such upcoming sessions with professionals from various industries, as we're going to see, right, through the slides and the presentations today. There are so many opportunities, guys. Opportunities are galore. And as technology evolves and as the world economy progresses into new phases, so many new professions are coming into being, right? Probably even 10 years ago, if someone were to say that they were a YouTuber or a YouTube content creator, everyone would have made fun of them, right? That's not even a serious profession. So, but today, that is one of the largest raking professions, and people can be successful content creators online. So the world is changing. There is a strong dynamic landscape, particularly in terms of career, the number of options that you're faced with. So I really want you guys to pay attention in today's session so that you can take maximum advantage. Okay. With this, I'll start off with my presentation. Just bear with me, guys, until I share screen. Okay, just a few shout outs. If I hear a few yeses, it's fine. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you, guys. Right. So let's start our session for today, right? Understanding careers. Now, this is the topic of the session. We need to understand what are careers. People keep talking, right? You need to choose the right career. You need to know the right set of things. What is a career to begin with? Let's first set the definition of the term. What is a career, right? So these are terms that you've heard of: a task, a job, a career, and an occupation. These are 4 different terms. They mean slightly different things. Although they are used in the same context, they mean slightly different things. Activities that you accomplish each day that comprise your job is a task. For example, if I say that Helen is doing her homework as she comes back from school, that is a task. That is a daily task that she does. That's not her job. It is a task that she does, right? So it's one of the things. So if I say Abdul is actually mowing the garden, right? He's mowing the lawn. That is a task that he has been given to do, right? So these are not jobs. These are activities that you do throughout the span of the day to do or to live to the identity that you have filled in. For example, a student, as part of being a student, does a daily homework. A gardener, as part of being a gardener, mows the lawn. A student, as part of being a mom's son, does household chores, right? So there are so many roles and responsibilities that we take up and we perform those roles, right? So that is a task. Task now, very simply put, it is just work. It's some job that you're doing, right? It's some small job that you're doing. What is a job then? It's a position that you fulfill each day as a step in your career ladder. Let's make it a bit simpler to understand. So it is my job to teach you. This is the word of a teacher. Why? Because the core activity or the core activity that is essential for a teacher day in and day out is to teach her students, right? She needs to impart knowledge to her students. That is the core task or responsibility of a teacher, right? So that is the job. What is a career? The progression of jobs fulfilling your goals within your occupation, right? Now, this is a bit of a bigger definition. For example, say someone wants to become a CEO of a company, right? As you go further, you will understand that that's not exactly defining something, but just to start off the discussion with a very simple objective, say someone wants to become the CEO of a company. Now, the progression of jobs fulfilling your goals within your occupation. So what's your occupation? It's the CEO of a firm. You may be the CEO of 3-4 firms, right? You may change jobs. So for example, first you may be the CEO of a tech firm, then you may change to become the CEO of a bank, then you become the CEO of a food-based firm. So you keep on changing the company, but all of this is within your occupation as a CEO. It is just that you have taken up this job in different companies, right? So this is a career. Now, what is an occupation? Now, an occupation is the largest term. So an occupation is the area of interest or industry in which you work. For example, my occupation is to work in the education industry, right? So in the education industry, what I do is to prepare the students to face the employment sector. So how do they prepare themselves to face the real world? How do they get the skills that are outside their regular curriculum so that they can participate and be successful in their real and day-to-day lives, right? So this is my occupation. What is my career? My career is the CEO of a startup. So I have my own startup company that provides EdTech services. As ma'am mentioned, EdTech means education technology, or those technologies or those software solutions that help students get educated, right? Which can offer any education service. That's called EduTech or EdTech, right? And this is my career. So I'm the CEO of my EdTech startup. Now, what is the job? The job that I have is to run the company every day. So I have to look after my employees. I have to teach them what to do. I have to guide their work, and I have to ensure that the clients or the people who buy my solutions are happy with the work that I'm doing. So that is my job, right? It is my day-to-day job. What are the tasks that I do as part of the job? All the things I mentioned, right? I have to look after my employees. I have to ensure that they work well. I have to ensure that my clients are happy. I have to ensure that my software is running properly. So all these are my tasks. So my tasks are what I do as part of my job. My job is what I do to be successful in my career. My career is in the field in which I'm operating. The field is called the occupation. How many of you understand this? Task, job, career, occupation. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat, guys. If you understand, chat, just give me a thumbs up or just say yes if you understand. So task, job, career, occupation. Understood all the 4 differences? Good. Fantastic. Let's move on. Now, first of all, what is this career coaching, right? Why are we having this session? The session is aimed at giving you a perspective on what career or what profession will be suitable to your interests and ambitions. I'm sure each one of you has a dream. You want to become so and so. You want to take a certain position in life. You want to help people in a certain way. You want to cause an impact on society. Each one of you has a dream, right? And the career coaching is meant to ensure that you are able to clinch your individual dreams by identifying the right profession that can get you there. Now, this profession has to be in accordance with your interests and your ambitions, right? What is the second thing? The second thing says it creates a bridge between the industry and the academic environment. Now, one thing which you need to remember as students of this day and age is that innovation is happening every second. Can anyone tell me what innovation is? Come on, students. Anyone who can tell me what innovation is? Simpler. Do you know what the word innovation means? Yes, ma'am.
Finding something.
Different, sir. Something.
Finding something different, finding
Something new.
creating something new. Okay.
Something different, sir.
Anything else?
Developing something.
Developing something. Okay. Anything else? Anything else?
Creating something different from others.
Very good. Creating something different from others. Okay. Anything else? So what? So what if you create something different? Is everything different an innovation? Supposing I decide that instead of walking on my legs, I want to walk on my hands. Is that an innovation?
No, sir.
Then what is an innovation? There is something beyond creating something different. What makes something an innovation? Yes, it is different. Yes, it is unique. But what also must it do?
So, innovation is an idea that has been transformed into practical reality.
That also fits my definition of walking on hands. If I decide to walk on hands and I manage to learn through yoga how to do it, then I'm still, does it mean I'm innovative? No, right?
Our own practical ideas.
Okay, still the same thing. Walking on hands qualifies as a practical idea, which I've implemented. There's one more thing that you everyone are missing. What qualifies something? Creation. Okay, that way maybe you can argue. You didn't create anything, you're just doing something new. Fine. Okay, I decided to create maybe just a scribbling drawing, which has no sense. It doesn't look nice. It's just a scribbled drawing, but it is mine. It's unique. Is it innovative just to scribble across a piece of paper? It is also a creation, mind you. There's one thing which you're all missing.
A new method.
New methods. I can also scribble through a new method. What else? Something which
Finding
an-
new things for useful for others.
Exactly. It should be useful. It should be useful. Very good. Technology is fine, but it should be useful. Who said that? Very good, Pa. Very good, Tirnesh. It should be useful. That is the most important thing. So what you find out, what makes it innovative is not just that it is different from others, but that it is useful to people. The important fact is that it must be useful. When I decide to walk on my two hands, it's not of use to anyone. When I scribble on a piece of paper in a different way, it's not going to be of any use. Innovation is necessarily accompanied by the fact that it serves a large utility value to a certain segment of the society or a certain group of people. That is very, very important. It should be useful. This perspective is missing from a lot of organizations these days, guys. They innovate in the name of finding something new, but it turns out that it's not useful for anyone, and it doesn't serve any segment of the population at all, right? So innovation must be accompanied by the fact that it actually solves someone's problem. There should be a problem to begin with, right? You cannot innovate without a problem. You know, when Henry Ford, does anyone know who Henry Ford is? Come on,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Who is he?
Founder of the Ford company, sir.
Founder of the Ford company.
So what did he do? What was so special about him? What was the thing he invented?
A car.
Very good. It seems once Henry Ford was asked by
Reverse mechanism.
yeah, that's right. So a car is right now. So in terms of something that you need to know about Henry Ford, it seems once Henry Ford was asked by people around him, he's a very smart guy, right? He's invented the car. So they asked him, how did you get this idea that you want to invent a car, right? Students, please stop annotating on the screen. So how did you invent a car, right? That was what he was asked. And they asked him, did you speak with your customers? Did you get the idea from them that you have to invent a car? How did you do it? So do you know what he said? When he asked his customers, they told him that they wanted faster horses, right? They said they wanted faster horses. Why? Because people were traveling on horses at that point in time, right? They could not think beyond the fact that they wanted faster horses. But a car is a radical innovation, right? It is something new. It is something unheard of, right? We call it a disruption. Have you heard of this word disruption? Has anyone heard of this word disruption? Come on, students. Have you heard of it or not?
No, sir.
Disruption kelvipettade area.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So normally disruption is used in a negative sense. Why are you disrupting the class by making noise? I'm surprised that you didn't hear of this from your teachers, because
I have heard, sir.
This is one of the most commonly spoken sentences. Why are you disrupting the flow of the class by making noise? Why are you disrupting the peace in the class by creating disturbances? This is something which teachers usually use as phrases to admonish students when they have any kind of behavior that is not ideal in class, right? So, but disruption in this sense is something different. Disruption means it is a positive disruption. That is, disruptive innovation refers to those kind of innovative activities wherein it completely changes our paradigm of thinking. So அது வரைக்கும் நம்ம யோசிச்சு வச்சிருக்கிற விஷயத்தை completely it takes it to a different level, right? So faster horses வேணும்னு கேட்ட ஜனங்களுக்கு கார் கொடுத்தவர் ஹென்ரி ஃபோர்ட், right? People are not even able to think of cars, right? And let's take another example. Who are the Wright brothers? Who are the Wright brothers, guys? Anyone knows? Very good.
Plane.
They invented the plane. If you know, people were asked about flying, what was the only thing they knew? Birds. Birds used to fly because they have feathers and wings. So if you have feathers and wings and keep on flapping them, do you think you can fly? No, right? Cannot. So is the Wright brothers brought in something based on aerodynamics. This is something you'll probably learn in 11th and 12th. There's something called the Bernoulli's theorem, right? So based on the principle of aerodynamics, they were able to find out how you can design these engines or these machineries which can fly, which can take flight, right? So what I'm trying to communicate in this is that innovation must necessarily be useful, must be a new way of doing things, And it need not be a product, right? It's not always the case that something which is innovated is a product or it's a mission or it's an app. There are things which are innovations, which are also different ways of thinking about something. Can you think of something like that? I'll reserve this question to the end of the presentation. I want you to think of an innovation that does not involve a physical product or that does not involve an app or anything like that. It is just going to be something that is just a different way of thinking about a process, right? Think about it. We'll ask this question once again at the end of the presentation. So by then, think about it. Okay, so moving on. What are the objectives of this session, right? What are we trying to cover? We're going to understand career planning. We're going to determine what your personality is, and we're going to understand what your career interest is based on your personality, and then develop a knowledge of all the possible streams and careers that you can take if you learn properly, right? If you learn in accordance with the courses offered, where are the places you can go to in life, right? Literally and figuratively. Okay, so there are so many options in front of all of us. We are always confused. There's so many questions. What am I going to do? How can I get there? What are the risks of taking up this job? Am I sure of how to go there? Where do I plan? When do I plan? How do I plan? Are my subjects the right choice of subjects? Do you want to do all these subjects? Do you think you would like doing them throughout your life? If I don't make it, then what is my backup plan? Everyone is not sure these days, right? They're not sure that they can actually make it to that profession. So what is the backup plan? If not plan A, then what is plan B? You can see a lot of careers that are written on the top right-hand side. You have a hotelier, a nurse, a journalist, a psychologist, a physiotherapist, a programmer, a sociologist, a trainer, a scientist, an accountant, a mechanic, an architect, a teacher, a banker, a doctor, a designer, right? A historian, a pilot, so many, beautician, right? There are so many careers that have been spoken of here, right? What you need to understand is that these are all possibilities for you. Today, careers have been made so monodimensionalized, so monotonic, that people think that going for engineering, law, or medicine is possibly the only 3 career alternatives available for people. Let me tell you, they are not even the most paid ones. There are careers which are far more paid than any of these 3 alternatives. And there are so many options that are emerging today that all those who made into engineering, law, and medicine are now trying out these alternate opportunities. They're doing online courses so that they can get prepared with these alternate opportunities, right? So that is exactly what is happening today. You should really be aware of this, right? When you make your career plan, right? Now, let's move on. How do you plan your career? There are a lot of opportunities and a lot of options available. You should remember one thing. All options that are available are equally good and equally competitive. Guys, remember, just by becoming a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer or an engineer from the best of the colleges, that alone does not guarantee success. That alone does not ensure that you are successful in your profession. So what determines success? It is your aptitude and attitude, right? Aptitude means your ability to do well in that subject, your passion towards the subject, your interest in that subject. Attitude, it's a very, very important fact because your attitude determines your outlook towards life. How do you approach situations? How do you solve problems, right? That is extremely important and that determines how successful you are in your career. So you should choose a career only based on 3 things. Academic fit. Do you like the subjects that you're studying? These are the subjects that you're going to carry with you throughout your life, right? Do you really think that you can spend your time throughout your life solving mathematical equations? Do you think you can really spend your time throughout your life understanding balances, account sheets, and so on? Do you think you can spend your time throughout your life thinking about historical changes that happened in different countries to assess the society of today, right? So you really need to make these decisions early on so that you understand where your passion lies. What do you want to do with the opportunity that you've been given? Personality. Now, each one of us has a unique personality. Some of us are outgoing, extroverts. Some of us are intuitive. Some of us are logical, right? There are so many different types of personalities that each one of us have. And each personality has a particular career fit. For example, if I tell you that a person wants to become a poet, right? A poet cannot be someone who is always logical only, because poems read a fantasy, it reads of fictional worlds, right? Now, a person who's entirely logical is not going to make sense of anything that is illogical, right? They cannot think beyond the confines of the rational world. So that makes a person unfit to be a poet. However, if I'm going to choose a person for a profession, say a computer engineer, right? A person has to be logical. They have to have a scientific bent of mind. The person cannot say, I'm weak with mathematics, so I don't like math. I'm weak with logic, so I don't like to think about logic. These are essential skill sets to being a successful computer engineer. So a person must necessarily have these skill sets if they want to succeed in that profession. So your personality is a key determining factor. What are your desires? Now, above these two, there is something called a desire. Now, we may think, right, you are of a certain personality. People may say that you are an introvert, or you are an extrovert, or you are an intuitive person, or you are a logical person, so on and so forth. However, there is something that you want to do, the way that you see yourself, what you want to do with your life. Trust me, above all these other factors, above academic fit, above personality, your desire can make your life any way you choose. In fact, there is a saying in Sanskrit, yat bhavayati tat bhavati. Whatever you think of, whatever you wish, or whatever you dream, so you become, right? Your dreams influence the fabric of reality in which you live in, right? So it's very, very important that you understand that who you want to be plays a very strong role in who you become, right? Okay, small detour here. How many of you have read Harry Potter? How many of you have read Harry Potter, guys?
I have read, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
I have read, sir.
Very good. So I want to ask you about a particular situation. The Sorting Hat says Harry is suitable for both Slytherin and Gryffindor, right? But Harry chooses Gryffindor. And Harry has this question in the second book, The Chamber of Secrets, whether he was the heir of Slytherin, right? And he was thinking about this question, he was battling with it, and he asks the Sorting Hat once again, am I really a Gryffindor? Do I belong in the Gryffindor house? And the Sorting Hat says, well, you are equally good. You could have been equally great in Slytherin as well. But then at the end of the book, Harry draws the Gryffindor sword out of the Sorting Hat, correct? And anyone remembers what Dumbledore says at the end?
Dumbledore says one less no Gryffindor could do it.
Sorry, Ma, can you be a bit loud?
Dumbledore says only two Gryffindor can do it.
That's right. And what made him a true Gryffindor? Was it his ability?
No, sir, it was his desire that he should be a
Very
Gryffindor,
good.
just
Very
like his
good.
father.
Very good. It was his desire, it was his choice, right? So the choice is what determines our life. It is not ability, it is choice. So ability can only play a certain role. For example, you may be very good, analytical, logical, excellent at cracking competitive exams and have a great scientific aptitude. But you may really want to become perhaps a cinematographer, right? And if in accordance with your ability, you took a decision to take up engineering, right? And you go to a profession and you work well, you earn a good salary, how far do you think it can take you? Why do you see so many engineers who are jumping off to become film makers or actors? Because they're not able to assess their personalities and their desires at a very early stage. So you need to understand what your desire is, right? It's very important. So the lesson from Harry Potter, as Dumbledore says, it's not your abilities that define you, it is the choices that you make, right? And a choice is defined by your desire. So keep this in mind, that your desire is what is going to influence your future. So ensure that you know your desire very well. Now, ambition versus reality. People talk of ambition, right? So before making a career choice, you have to really understand yourself. You have to understand your likes, your dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your preferences. Ambition can never be injected, right? Somebody cannot say you have to have an ambition to become a doctor. You have to have an ambition to become the best lawyer in India. Nobody can say that, right? It's up to you to have your own ambitions. I know people who think that they don't even need ambitions. So the ambition is what drives the purpose of our existence, the purpose of our being, right? It's extremely important that each one of us cultivates an ambition. That's one of the earliest things that you should and must do. Right? People without an ambition are like rocks without life, right? So they don't have anything in their life to do. They have nothing to look forward to, right? And no constructive value is ever going to come out of them, right? So ambition is what makes you achieve everything in life, right? There may be so many adversities, there may be so many challenges that you encounter in your way, but what is your ambition? Now that is going to drive you to achieve these things, right? Okay, so ambition cannot be injected. It should be intrinsic. It should come from you. It cannot be imitated also. Just because your friend wants to become a doctor, you cannot have an ambition to become a doctor all of a sudden. Friendship can never induce that, right? So it has to be inborn. It has to be your choice, and it has to come from you. Family circumstances, however, can be a determining factor in shaping your career goals. Like, why did I choose education? Because our family consists of a lot of educators. My grandfather is an educator, right? So many people in the education profession, you look, you watch, you learn, right? You grow up looking at the profession, you grow up seeing the impact of what that profession can have on people's lives. That can definitely influence you to make a choice. That happens. In many cases, that happens. That's why you see a family of lawyers, you see a family of doctors, you see a family of auditors. Now, all these things happen because when you are growing up in a certain environment, உங்க வீட்லயே இருக்கும், right? உங்க அப்பா அம்மா டாக்டரா இருந்தா, உங்க அப்பா அம்மா ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ப்ரொஃபஷன்ல இருந்தா, அந்த ப்ரொஃபஷன் சம்பந்தப்பட்ட விஷயங்கள்லாம் from a very young age you'll be constantly hearing, right? You'll constantly be thinking about it. You'll know a lot of things much more than people who are not in that profession, right? So this is going to definitely influence your career goal. That is one of the things that you do need to keep in mind, right? Okay. Now, what are the things you should not do? You should not succumb to peer influence or parental pressure. Just because your parents want you to do something, it doesn't mean that you must blindly follow that. I'm not saying disobey them, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you should work with your parents and understand, is this what you have the strength towards doing, right? Students, please keep your microphones muted. Request all students to keep their microphones muted. Thank you. So you need not succumb to peer pressure or parental pressure. First, work with your parents to understand who you are, who your capability, what are your capabilities, what defines you, right? And then make a choice. Don't get drawn into peer influence. Just because your friends are doing something, don't do something. Do it because you think you're good at it. Do it because you see yourself in that role, in that position as a person practicing that. Mute the microphone. Thank you. Right. So do not blindly follow the crowd. Do not look at salary and possibility of working abroad as the only two reasons for choosing a profession. And many people do that. And there is an area of friends when they say, I want to grow up and become this particular executive in this firm because I can get to travel the world. You can travel the world being a doctor, an architect, a lawyer, or anything on the planet that you want to be. Traveling the world is not a reason for choosing a job. It is definitely not the reason for choosing a job. Now, another thing is, do not look at the salary alone. Yes, finances are important while making a career choice. No second thoughts about that. But having said that, that alone does not determine the suitability of the profession for you. But one thing you need to remember is that whatever choice you make, the decision that you make is a lifelong decision. So once you have decided you want to become a doctor, you can't just change the course halfway around, say, I want to become a lawyer because I'm fed up of medicine. You cannot say that, right? You made a choice. So you have gone through the education process of 8, 9, 10 years, right? And you've prepared yourself to become a doctor. So you can't just reverse the brakes on your life midway, right? So you need to really give it a lot of thought. You make a decision, that decision is going to have a lifelong impact, right? So keep this in mind when you're thinking about your career. Students, all good? Until this point, everyone is able to get everything? Just want a quick...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on. Life after high school, right? You're all in your high school. So what do you do after that? You need to think about what you want to do when you grow up, right? It's never too early to think about your future. You need to know what you're doing in school and how that's going to lead to what you're going to do after school, right? What are the subjects you're strong in? Do you like history? Do you like science? Do you like math? Do you like English? You need to make the decision. I'm sure all of you, not just based on your marks, even in terms of your inherent capabilities, right? Marks are only an indicator, but your inherent capabilities can tell you that you're good in ABC, right? Be aware of that. Be in touch with it. Know about it. Right? Who are you? Know yourself better. What are you doing? Right? What do you like doing? What are the activities you don't like? What are your interests? Right? What is the hobby that you have? Right? What are the values that you think are more important? Right? What do you mean by values? Values refer to things like you want to be very peaceful, you want to be considerate, you want to be kind, you want to be compassionate, you want to help people in need, you want to teach and spread knowledge. So these are values, right? Values define our moral character. So what are the values that are important to you, right? What are your talents? What are the things that you like doing? What are your special powers? Can you sing? Can you play football? Can you dance? Can you cook? What are your talents? What are you good at doing? What are those activities that you feel so effortless, that you're so good at doing, that you don't even realize that it is a task, right? The people who are very, very good at their job, they make it seem like it's so easy to do it. I'm sure all of you have seen YouTube videos of all people making different kinds of food, or maybe making different kinds of craft work. It's so intricate, it is so time consuming and laborious, but when you see the video, it makes it feel as if it's nothing, right? That is how good they are at what they're doing. So whenever you do something effortlessly, that means you enjoy doing it and you're extremely good at it. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what are the things that you're good at doing? Now, where are you going, right? Where are you going, meaning what are your goals? What do you want to do in life? What kind of jobs are available that can help you achieve your goals? Your goal need not be having a job. Your goal may be to help people live a healthier life. If that is your goal, then there are many ways to accomplish it. Being a doctor is not the only way. You can be a nutritionist. You can be a yoga instructor. You can be a health awareness inspector. You can be a food health inspector. You can be so many things that can ensure a quality life to people in terms of providing them a good health, right? So what are the different jobs that match your skills? Now, apart from your goals, as I mentioned, multiple jobs can lead to the same goal. So you need to assess what are the jobs that are available that can match the skills that you have, right? So this is the where are you going part. And then once you know this, take action, set goals for yourself, list down all the kinds of jobs that you can do, right? Find out more about the jobs that you want to do, like conduct interviews with people, talk to them, find out what college courses have the jobs, have the courses that are necessary to perform the jobs that you want. For example, if you want to take a particular job in astronomy, like as an astronomer, then what are the courses that you need to take? Which colleges offer those courses? How well is it taught at these colleges? These are things that you need to think about, right? Okay, so what are these 6 steps that I say are the steps required to choosing a career? First thing, knowing yourself, assessing yourself, right? You should know who you are. Then you make a list of the occupations to explore. Occupations, we saw it earlier, fields, right? The fields you want to work in, medicine, right? Or healthcare, finance, technology, journalism, right? There's so many different fields. Make a list of all those that you think are interesting to you, right? At this stage, I'm sure at least each one of you can think of 5 to 6 different fields that come to your mind. Once you do that, conduct informational interviews. So what do I mean by informational interviews? Informational interviews are interviews wherein you speak to people who are working in that field, job, or profession and get more information from them as to how their typical day looks like. Right? How is your typical day? What are the things you're doing? How is your job? How is the work-life balance? That's an important thing. What is the amount of time they allocate at work and the amount of time that they allocate for family, right? How is the work-life balance? So you need to ask all these questions to the people and conduct informational interviews so that you can get a better idea of what does it mean to be in that profession, right? Step 4, make a career choice, right? You make the choice and then you identify your goals. You find out what your goals are, right? And then you write down a career action plan. I said, as I mentioned at the very outset, a career consists of many different roles in different companies, in different industries, but they all come under the bracket of your career, right? So ensure that you make the right career plan, the progression, right? From company to company, from role to role, right? From responsibility to responsibility to ensure that you're able to reach your career goals. So these are the 6 steps of choosing a career. In this, we at the school level are going to do step 1, step 2 and step 3. Assessing yourself, making a list of occupations that you will be suitable for, and conducting informational interviews with people who are working in that profession to understand how their jobs look like. Everything good? Students, you're following me as of now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you enjoying the session so far? Are you learning something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on.
Sir.
Okay, let's move on. Right. So now what are we going to look at? We're going to look at certain important aspects associated with the different things that we spoke about. This is a career map. It's a very, very simple and very, very elementary, fundamental kind of a career. Now, what does this say? This tells us essentially that there are different aspects of your education. You start off at elementary school and you go to high school, right? Then some people directly join work after high school, right? Which is after class 12. Some people go to college, right? Some people go to vocational college. Vocational college is basically an institution that trains you only for the job, right? For example, carpentry or electrician related professions, right? There are so many vocational courses that, or a dietitian, nutritionist, so many different courses that train you especially for that job, right? It's not a typical college, it's a vocational college because it is job related training. Colleges are your normal, run of the mill. You have a bachelor's or an undergraduate study, or a postgraduate study, and so on and so forth. And then people go to work, right? So after high school, it is extremely important for you to go to college or vocational school because students who don't go there often don't end up with well-paying jobs. I know there are exceptions to every rule, but it is extremely important that you must go to a good college and learn the subject that you're good at, right? So that you can get access to well-paying jobs and respected jobs in society where you will be able to showcase and demonstrate your potential, right? Now, what are the wrong questions? What are the questions you should not be asking when you choose a job? What jobs are in demand? How does it matter? Just because the jobs are in demand, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the job, right? I may want 1 million software engineers, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go and hire a poet to become a software engineer just because I have 1 million openings, right? So it doesn't matter what jobs are in demand. Now, I take this with a pinch of salt. For example, when I say it doesn't matter, do you think you should go and join as a typewriter in any company? Right? Do you think you should go and join as a typist? Yes, no? What are your thoughts?
No. No, sir.
No.
The reason is because the profession is going to disappear, right? It's a profession which is soon going to disappear. Typist is not any longer a qualification that a person can solely have, right? So that way, yes, you have to check that is the job in demand. But otherwise, you need not look at that as the criterion for choosing the field. Now, what are the most high paying jobs? Doesn't matter, right? Every job, the pay that it has changed over the centuries. Like earlier, technology jobs used to be paid very low, right? But now technology jobs are the highest paid ones. Earlier, jobs which were more finance centric were paid high, values of salaries. Government jobs were given extremely high remuneration. But now, right? So things keep changing as every age comes by. The pay profiles for different jobs keep changing as social perceptions and economic needs change. So that should not be a criterion for choosing a job. Can I do jobs abroad? As I mentioned earlier, never a criterion. What jobs require minimal effort for a high salary? Students, no jobs require minimal effort. Everything requires you to be completely passionate, to put in your hard and best effort in the profession. Only then you can be successful. Nobody will give you high remuneration for low work, right? Even in your own company, you shouldn't be doing that because you'll have to shut down the company very soon if that's the case, right? So there is no substitute for hard work. So you can never get minimal effort and then get a high salary. What jobs have the shortest hours, right? What are the shortest hours? How does it matter? Shortest hours doesn't mean that it's the easiest job, right? Some of the jobs which have a very, very short hour are extremely demanding and can be extremely nerve-wracking. So it doesn't matter. For example, if you take the trading jobs, right? If you're a trader, now what does it mean to be a trader? In simple terms, it's like a stock broker or a share broker, right? Wherein you buy shares, you invest people's money in the shares of different companies, right? That job is generally for the time when the market is open, the trading market is open. A trading market is open from 6 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Just like school students, they'll go and do their job and come. But it is one of the most nerve-wracking jobs to have in the entire economy. You get shouted at, you get yelled at, you have to be the best in mathematics, you have to take a high pressure of targets, right? It's extremely stressful and it's one of the most difficult jobs. So time does not matter at all. The number of hours has no consequence on how easy or difficult the job is. Which career can get me promoted faster? Again, not the right question. No career can get you promoted faster. What jobs are expanding quickly? Same as the first question, never the criterion for choosing a job. So then what are the right questions you may ask? What will make me happy? What am I passionate about? What do I dream of doing? And what do I really want to do? These are the things that you should be asking yourself. And this helps you find out who you are, right? And define your interests and then take the right profession or job that will suit you, right? So this is the question that you need to be asking yourself. Now, how do you find your type? How many of you tried out the RIASEC test? Students, I want an answer from you guys. How many of you tried out?
I have tried, sir.
Okay.
I have finished that, sir.
Very good. I'm going to ask a couple of you guys.
Finished, sir.
Okay, good. So I'm going to ask a couple of you guys in terms of what is your results for the RIASEC test. So I want those people to come forward and share it with me. Can Tanishka, KG Tanishka from 8th A, can you share me your result? What is it that you got?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got my interest code as ASE.
ASE. Okay, good mark. Good. What about Rishi? Rishi from 8th B. Rishi S. Is Rishi there? Rishi isn't there? Okay, fine. What about Aarti from 8th C? Aarti.
Yes, sir.
What did
I
you
got
get?
ICA, sir.
ICA. Okay, good. What about Radha Lasan from 9th A?
Sir, I got SAE.
You got what, ma?
SAE.
SA. What is the third letter?
E.
E. Okay. Okay. Good. What about Shivani Shri?
Yes, sir. My interest code is AES.
Okay. Good. What about Harini? 9C. Harini Sundaram. Harini Sundaram, are you there? Okay. What about 10th A Lasya?
My score is ACE, sir. ACE.
AC. Okay. What about Tarini Rupa, 10th B?
Yes, sir. My interest code is AIS.
AIS. Okay. What is Sanjana K from 10th C? What is your interest for now? Sanjana, are you there? 10th standard C section, Sanjana K.
Yes, sir. RAS.
RAS. Okay. Right. So the RIASEC test now, before we go any further, what does it do? It asks you a couple of questions on what are the things that you like to do. And based on that, it tells you what profile do you have and what careers will be suitable for you, right? It's a very, very wonderful test because it's a very difficult decision, right? When you think about it. But when you answer this test, it makes it really easy for you to understand which careers will be of the best suit for you, right? Okay, so R stands for realistic, right? I stands for investigative, A for artistic, S for social, E for enterprising, and C for conventional, right? Let's go through the different types to understand what these are, right? Realistic. So realistic are people who are good at mechanical jobs, athletic jobs, jobs that involve raw physical effort, right? Good majors for realistic people are agriculture, health assistant, computers, construction, mechanic or machinist, engineering, food and hospitality. Right? Engineering is the last choice, last but one choice, because engineering is not just about raw, strength. It's also about a lot of creativity, right? Students, please ensure that your microphone is muted. Yeah, thank you. So it ensures that people have a lot of creativity, right? So that's why we have put engineering at the end. But R is realistic professions where people can employ a lot of mechanical and physical effort to be successful in the job, right? Okay, so that is realistic. So if you see what are the fields that you can study, right? If you take a realistic job, natural resources, health services, industrial and engineering technology, arts and communication. These are some of the good fields. Arts and communication is at the last part because it's not exactly about realism as we spoke of earlier. It's more about creative expression. Okay. Now moving on to the next alphabet. Investigative. Investigative means you like to really detect patterns. Think about observation. See, whenever we think of investigation, the first person we remember is Sherlock Holmes, right? By Arthur Conan Doyle. So he's the first person who comes to mind, right? His detective abilities. When you like to watch, learn, analyze, and solve problems, right? Good college majors for investigative people are people who take marine biology, engineering, chemistry, zoology, medicine or surgery, consumer economics, and psychology. Consumer economics means analyzing consumer trends and preferences to make meaningful insights, right? To make meaningful observations that businesses can use to make better sales, right? This is what is called consumer economics. So in the professions, what is the underlying ability? It is the ability to find patterns. It's the ability to analyze, to watch and learn, and then use the knowledge to solve problems, right? Let's move on to the next one. A for artistic. These people like to work in unstructured situations, right? Where they can use their creativity. So for example, so there are two ways of giving a job. Supposing I teach you a subject, say in English, right? Supposing I'm taking a lesson. And I'm not sure how many of you still have the same syllabus, but say if I'm taking the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, right? I'm just taking that poem. So all I do is I just ask you to come in and read that poem, and I say, okay, great. I think we've read it. So tomorrow I just want a 150-word essay on what are the different literary devices that are used in the poem and what are the different poetic techniques that are used. I don't teach you anything in class. I just read the poem along with you, just give you a couple of notes here and there. Nothing much to do with the question I've asked you. And I give you this question and I ask you to go and find out. Now, this is an unstructured activity, right? Because you've not been told how to do it. You've just been given a very loose framework of what is expected, but you've not been told step by step, or like people used to put it, you've not been spoon-fed on how to do it, right? You really go out and find it out yourself. Right? That is an unstructured situation. And not many people like to work in that because it's an opportunity for creativity. But if you are a more structured person, you may not appreciate such kind of situations. So communications, cosmetology, fine and performing arts, photography, radio and TV, interior design, architecture. These are professions related to the fine arts as they involve creative and artistic ability. That's the expectation of this profession, essentially. Next is social. As for social, these people like to work with other people, right, rather than things. Good college majors for social people are counseling, nursing, physical therapy, travel, advertising, public relations, education. Does anyone know what public relations are? Have you heard of this, public relations? Anyone?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Public
No, sir.
relations,
No, sir.
supposing I'm having a company, say I'm having a brand that promotes fashion products, right? Supposing that's my company. And supposing I'm doing something like using my products and testing it on animals before I release it out into the public. Now, this is a big thing because animal testing is cruelty, right? It's animal cruelty. And there are so many laws and regulations against it. Now, if I don't have anyone to speak to the public, then there is no way of me to tell them that, hey, listen, I don't treat my animals cruelly. I do ethical testing. I make it safe. No animals are harmed in the process, right? How do I communicate this? I need to have a person who acts as an intermediary or who stands between the public, that is my consumers, and my company. So he's the voice of the company to the people. He speaks out the message of the company to the people, right? So that is a public relations officer, PRO, right? And a public relations is usually a position that is best suited for people who are extremely extroverted, who like to converse a lot, who are very good at speaking, right? All these capabilities are required to be a public relations officer. So that's why it comes under S for social, because they like to work with other people, they like to talk a lot, they like to represent a lot of things. So that's why it comes under S, right? Let's go to the next one, E. E equals enterprising. Like these people like to work with others and enjoy persuading and performing, right? Persuasion and performing. Now, persuading means being able to influence people to change their ideas very much to how you think of certain things, right? That persuasive power and the need to drive individual performance. When you think that you want to own things, you want to do them by yourself, you're an independent person, right? For people of this profile, enterprising careers are very useful for them. Enterprising also means entrepreneurship. That is, you starting out your own business, right? Having your own firm, your own company. Fashion merchandising, real estate, marketing and sales, law, political science, international trade, banking and finance. All of these are enterprising. Why? Because, for example, if you have a profession in banking and finance, you have to convince your clients to buy your product, right? How do you convince them? You need to know the art of persuasion. Students, once again, a gentle request to all of you to please keep your microphones muted. Okay. So how do you need to convince people? You need to know what is the art of persuasion. You need to be good at it. You need to be convincing and talk to them, break down their barriers, connect with them on a human level, make them understand why they should buy your product. So these are some of the skill sets that you need to have, right? That's why it comes under E equals enterprising. So these are some of the professions that you can take. Some of the pathways that you can take associated with this are business, public and human services, arts and communication, right? Okay. C is conventional. Now, conventional, these are people who are very detail oriented, who are very organized, and they like to work with data, right? Example could be accounting, reporting jobs, insurance. Solungappa.
What is meant by political science?
Yeah, political science basically means, see, whenever you want to go into politics, what is politics? When you want to go into government and to administrative jobs, right? You need to understand the political structure of a country. You need to know civics, basically. How is the particular official elected? What are our rights? What are the duties? What are the roles of civic bodies? How do they govern the country? What is happening in the political mechanism of the country? So in order to understand this, you take up political science. So political science gives you the knowledge to be a successful politician. For example, I'm talking about well-read politicians, guys. Please don't confuse it with people who have not passed the second or third standard and they're still politicians. I'm not talking about such people. I'm talking about people who are very well educated and who choose politics because they're passionate about it, right? So they usually are very, very qualified to comment on a lot of issues. You see people giving interviews on geopolitical situations, on democracy, on liberalism, on trade laws, right? So many other things which are very sophisticated and very difficult concepts to understand for the common person. How do they know that? Because they undertake political science. So political science gives you or equips you with all the skills needed to be a successful politician. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Okay, so moving on, C equal to conventional, right? Conventional means detail-oriented, organized, data-associated jobs, right? So in these jobs, you have accounting, reporting, insurance, administration, medical records, right? Banking, data processing. So all of this involves data entry and data processing jobs, right? You enter data, you examine anomalies in data, you make sure that the records are right, right? Accountants, they always do this, right? They have balance sheets, right? They check out how the profit of a company has been, what are the transactions it does, right? They have account statements, right? So these are a lot of record keeping jobs where you need to be meticulous in terms of noting down information, ensure that it is consistent across different records, make sure that everything tallies and reconciles with one another, right? So this is a skill that is more for conventional people who are detail oriented and meticulous, right? Okay, so moving on, let's look at the next part. What is your personality type? So as we saw till now, we mapped your abilities to the ISEC test and we found out which 3 letters maximize your ability. Now talking about personality, why does your personality matter? Because knowing your personality will help you understand yourself better and also helps you in interacting with others more efficiently. Like, for example, if you know someone is an introvert, right? They don't speak to other people. They're not very open. It's not a negative thing. It's just a person's quality, right? There are introverts and extroverts are just two different types of people. Like, you won't see introverts coming to parties or social gatherings or mixing with people because they are more withdrawn, right? Their nature is to be more withdrawn. So you need to understand what is the type of another person so that you can successfully interact with him or her. Right? So personality does matter. So we're trying to find out your personality. Now, when you understand personality, you can divide it into 4 different quadrants: information, decision-making, learning style, and energy. Information. How do you perceive the information around you? There are certain groups of people called sensors. So what they are is they're detail-oriented. They like clear instructions, right? Clear plans, clear timelines. If you're working on a project with a couple of your friends, you may find out some of them are like, okay, tomorrow we complete this, within 10 days we complete this, then within 20 days we complete this. We need to ensure we have 3 checks each time a day to see how well the work has gone. These are detail-oriented people who like clear plans, timelines, and instructions, right? They enjoy working with data because, as I mentioned earlier, you need to be meticulous when you work with data. Does anyone know the meaning of meticulous? What is meticulous? Do you know what is meticulous? Come on, guys. Anyone? Meticulous na enna theriyuma?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Like a really like a workaholic something like that.
Not workaholic, ma. Meticulous na.
Like
ஒரு விஷயத்தை வந்து to the last.
Passionate about it. Passionate
Yeah.
about it.
Correct. Passionate.
Sincerely.
Correct. Very good. Sincerely, passionate, and very, very particular that something doesn't go wrong. தப்பாயிடக்கூடாதுங்கிற அந்த ஒரு கண்ணோட்டத்தோட கேர்ஃபுல்லா எல்லாத்தையும் பண்றவங்க தான் மெட்டிகுலஸா பண்றது, எக்ஸாஸ்டிவா பண்றது, தப்பே இல்லாம பண்றது, right? That is a meticulous person. So as I mentioned, that is sensors. Intuitive people are those who are idea oriented, right? They don't like to go into the fine details. They're more of a big picture kind of a person. They like to think big. They like to think of theories, right? They enjoy hands-on experiments. They like to think about perspectives and opinions from a very large level, right? These are intuitive people. Now, this is information eppadi grahichikrangaangiradha porthu we have divided them into 2 sets, right? Then we look into learning style. How do you learn, right? Are you a judger or are you a perceiver? Judges are people who take in an information in a structured way, in a very, very organized way, and then make sense of things. Perceivers are people who prefer unstructured learning environments. They just take in information from various sources, they piece them together in their own way, and then they build a free-flowing understanding, right? So they have a very fluid understanding. So they are perceivers. Decision making. Decision making, there are 2 types of people: thinkers and feelers. Thinkers are people who use facts and figures, very logical, very consistent, right? And they make decisions like that. Whereas feelers are people who look at people, who look at circumstances, who factor in a lot of variables, and who see a lot of intrinsic things, right? Visceral things, feelings-based analysis to make a decision, right? They're not entirely logical. That doesn't mean they're illogical. It just means to say that they look at decision making from a different perspective. They look for value, right? They like building teamwork, and so on and so forth. Then energy. Energy also categorizes people into 2 sets: extroverts and introverts. Extroverts are people who really go out, who are outward looking. They seek interaction with other people. They like group activities. They like brainstorming. They like presentations, right? Introverts are people who are inward, who are quite silent, who don't interact with people, who prefer to be by themselves. They like working with thoughts, ideas, and imagination. They like to be left with themselves. It doesn't mean they're not good at work. It just means that they don't like professions where they have to go and outwardly interact with people. They prefer to be given a work and then they like to spend time on it by themselves, right? So these are the different personality types. Now, again, I want to pick a couple of students to share the answers. Guys, did you do this survey as well? How does your energy flow?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to call
Yes,
out
sir.
a couple of people. Can you tell me if you got E or I in this? Akshaya Shrikant, what did you
Yes,
get there?
sir.
Are you an extrovert or are you an
I.
introvert? I. Okay. You're an introvert. So RTS, can you tell me what did you get?
Sir, extrovert, sir.
Extrovert. Okay. Bhupesh? Bhupesh?
sir.
Extrovert. Seri. Then Devadarshini V. Devadarshini. Enema andade. V. Devadarshini, can you hear me? Devishri, what did you get?
E, sir.
E, extrovert. Okay. So, இது புரிஞ்சுதா எல்லாருக்கும்? It talks about, are you an introverted
Yes, sir.
person or are you an extroverted person? Right?
Yes,
So, you
sir.
have to tick the boxes that apply to you. And in the side, la kuda number of boxes tick aayirukko, that becomes your personality. Right? If you have a lot of energy, you like to be around people, you act now and think later, you like doing many things at the same time, you talk more than listen, then that means you're an extrovert. You have quiet energy, you like to be alone, you think and then speak, you like to focus on one thing at a time, and you listen more than talk, that means you're an introvert, right? Okay. Next. Let's get some more fresh answers for this. Apurva Darshini, what did you get for this? Apurva Darshini?
Sensor, sir.
Sensors, okay. Dakshina, what did you get for this? R Dakshina. R. Enema? What did you get for this, Dakshina? Dakshina, can you repeat your answer now? Enna kadichida? I couldn't hear you properly.
Sir, sensor, sir.
Sensors, okay. Sahana, G Sahana, what did you get?
Sir,
Enna
Sensors.
kadichida? Sensors,
Sensors.
okay. Kavin Kumar S, what did you get?
Sir, intuitive, sir.
Intuitives. Okay. So what is the objective of this exercise, guys? To find out if you are a sensor or an intuitive. How do you perceive information? Do you like concrete information? Do you like step-by-step instructions? Do you like to prefer to facts, stick to facts? Do you rely on past experiences? Do you like clear and precise data? Right? This makes you a sensor. If you're intuitive, you like creative ideas, you like to figure things out, you like to think about the possibilities, you trust your gut instincts, and you like abstract concepts, right? These things make you more intuitive, right? Good. Moving on. Next one, thinkers versus feelers. Let's get a couple of answers. Kirti, can you tell us what did you get for this? Kirti? Thinkers, okay. Kishore? Okay, Lakshita, what did you get for this one? Okay. Anusha, B Anusha.
Sir, thinkers.
Thinkers, okay. Janaka, G Janaka. G Janaka, what did you get now?
Feelers.
Feelers, okay. What about Lasya? PV Lasya?
Feelers, sir.
Feelers, okay. What about MK Shrival? MK Shrival?
Thinker, sir.
Things. Okay. So this again is depending on how do you process the information, right? And how do you base your decisions? Basing decisions on facts, looking for logical solutions, going for honesty and directness. You make decisions with your head, meaning you think about decisions. Logical, you love to debate issues, right? This makes you a thinker. Feelers are people who base decisions on their feelings. They consider how other people feel. So, and they go for courtesy and tact, right? Does anyone know what tact means? Tact na enna theriyuma?
Tactful-ஆ பண்றாங்கன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க.
அப்படின்னா என்ன அர்த்தமா? Tactful-ஆ பண்றதுன்னா என்ன?
ஒரு வேலையை வந்து ஈஸியா
ஈஸியா முடிக்கிறது. Okay. Anything else?
Sir, fat or sir?
Tact ma, tact. TACT. TACT.
sensitive, sir.
Sensitive, that's a good way of looking at it. Okay. Sensitive is actually very close to the meaning of tact. So when you're aware of how to use a situation appropriately, how to talk to people, being cognizant of many factors.
Sir, understanding. Having a skill.
Correct. Understanding is good. Having a skill to
Understanding,
negotiate.
sir.
Correct, ma. Correct.
How to deal with people.
Very good. How to deal with.
Ability people without upsetting them.
Very good. Interacting without upsetting them. Good. So there are so many ways that you can define tact. Tact na ஒரு situation ரொம்ப skillful ரொம்ப deft using your intuitive knowledge of people's emotions and their preferences. How do you deal with them, right? That is tact. Okay, fine. So thinkers or feelers, make decisions with your heart and avoid arguments with confidence. Now let's look at the next one. Judgers versus perceivers, right? How do you relate to your school and to the outside world? Okay, let's get some answers here. Aditri Venkateshan, what did you get, ma, for this?
Sir, judges.
Judges, okay. What about Ambika Mati? Okay, what about Arun? What did you get for this, Arun?
Perceivers, sir.
Perceivers, okay. What about Bharadwaj? RG Bharadwaj?
Sir,
என்னப்பா வந்தது இதுக்கு?
judges, sir.
Judges, okay. Okay, so this judges na they are again organized people. To-do list போடுறாங்க, plan பண்றவங்க, right? They study and then play later. They finish projects that you start. They get to class on time. These are people who are very systematic. Perceivers, people who are loose and casual. They take each day as it comes. They play first and then study later. They start projects but need not necessarily finish. And they like to be late as a fashion, right? So these are two different sets of people. Okay. Now that we've gone through this, this tells us about your personality, right? How do you think? How do you decide? How do you act? How do you perform? Now let's look at the values. We spoke of the values earlier, right? There are some values that we have. Now I want to call out people and you have to tell me your top 5 values. Okay, fine. Let's look at a couple of names to see who to call out. Okay, can Rishi S from 8B answer? Rishi S, 8th standard B section. Rishi, are you there? Okay. What about Tanishka, 8A?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you answer
Yes,
what
sir.
are your top 5 values?
Top 5 values. Yeah, helping society. I thought it is very important, and helping others is also very important. Competition is also very important for me, and creativity is somewhat important.
So what are the ones that you think are most important? Adila 5 mattum isu. Top 5.
I think competition.
So you mentioned competition, you mentioned helping society, helping others. What else? 2 more.
And physical challenge and recognition.
Okay, very good, very good, very good, Tanishka. Okay, anyone else wants to try?
Sir, can I, Suganya?
Yes, ma, please tell me what are the top 5 values?
Knowledge. Knowledge and creativity.
Okay, then
Competition.
very good. Then
Having power and authority.
very good. Yeah.
And physical challenge.
Okay, very good, very good. Many of the choices are ones which I would have also made. Good, ma. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next, anyone else wants to try?
Okay,
Sir, may I?
Okay,
Kavin Kumar, sir.
Okay, okay, one by one. Kavin Kumar, try first.
Sir. Independence, sir, first of all.
Okay, then
Independence, stability, sir.
okay.
Religious.
Okay.
IT company.
Physical challenge
Okay.
and creativity, sir.
Very good. Very good. That's good.
That's
Good
also.
answer. Okay, next who wants to try?
Sir, can I?
Yeah, please.
Sir, can I?
Okay, okay, one second. Let's start. Radha Lasan first நீங்க try பண்ணுங்க.
Having power and authority. Working alone.
கொஞ்சம் சத்தமா பேசுங்கம்மா. I'm not able to hear you.
Having power and authority.
Okay.
And
Okay.
independence. Fun.
Okay. 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 Having power and authority, fun, technology, working alone, that's 4. What is the 5th one?
Maybe recognition.
Recognition. Okay, good. Next, who wants to try?
Sir, can I?
Lakshmi. Let Lakshmi go first. Yeah. Solunga Lakshmi.
Helping others, knowledge, profit gain, fun, technology.
Very good. Okay, good. Next, who wants to go?
Sir, can I?
Okay. Let's three more guys. Just 3 more guys. Jeevanandan, try. One second. Jeevanandan first try pantom, then we'll go on.
Artistic creativity, knowledge, physical challenge, adventure, technology.
Very good. Very good.
Can I?
Yes. Yes. 1 second. Amrita first. Yeah.
Sir, public contact,
Okay.
knowledge,
Okay.
creativity, intellect status, and fun.
Very good, ma. Very good.
Can I?
Yes,
Can I?
go ahead. Go ahead. DP Daya. 1 second. DP Daya. DP Daya.
Having power and authority, working alone, physical challenge, fun,
Then?
adventure.
Okay, good. Good.
Can I, sir?
Okay, Sanjay.
Can I, sir?
Sanjay.
Challenge.
Sir, can I?
ஒரே நிமிஷம் சஞ்சய் என்ன சொல்றாரு கேட்டுட்டு then we'll go. சொல்லுங்க சஞ்சய்.
Physical challenge,
Okay.
knowledge,
Okay.
creativity,
Okay.
fun,
Okay.
working with others.
Very good. Very good. Guys, did you all enjoy doing this exercise?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to open it for 2 more people. Right? Just 2 more people because we need to go ahead. Okay. One sec. All will get an opportunity to share it with me through writing. எல்லாரும் உங்களோட choices writing எழுதி எனக்கு அனுப்புங்க. Just 2 more chances I'm going to give. Right? One for Shiva Sindhuja.
Can I, sir?
One second, ma. Yara பேசும்போது if we are all quiet, then we can hear them out. Shiva Sundhuja and Shivani Shri. I'm giving the last 2 chances to both of you guys. The others have to write it down. Everyone's 5 choices I want to know. Okay? I'll collect it from your teachers. Okay? Yeah. Just Shiva Sundhuja and Shivani Shri alone. Tell me what are your 5 choices.
Sir, knowledge, having power and authority, profit gain, adventure, technology.
Very good. Shivani Shri?
Yes, sir. Adventure, fun,
Okay.
technology,
Okay.
knowledge,
Okay.
creativity.
Very good. Very good, students. So I hope you enjoyed this exercise. So let's move on now. So you told me your top 5 values. You told me what are the things that really matter to you while choosing a career. So we saw 3 important things, guys. What do you like to do? That was measured by the RIASEC test. What is your personality? That was measured by the E or extrovert or introvert, judges or thinkers, and so on and so forth. Right? Then the third one measured your values. What is it that you want to do in a profession? Okay, so careers are basically of 2 types: education-based careers and talent-based careers. Education-based careers are those that can be performed only by going through a certain number of college degrees, right? Talent-based careers are those that need not necessarily be, heavy on the education, but they require an inherent talent, right? An inherent ability to do something. For example, singing, right? You can go and have all the education from, about the profession, but you may still be a bad singer, right? Because it depends on talent. It's inherent, right? So painting, you can have all the knowledge about painting, but you can still be a terrible painter, right? Depends on your intrinsic skill. So these are the 2 different kinds of careers. Now, what is the big question that faces you? Do you need to take science? Do you need to take commerce? Or do you need to go for the arts? Science, we all know what it is: physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, computer science. Commerce talks about finance, the ability to understand business transactions, various aspects of a business, right? Arts, it talks about creative expression, right? Any form of English literature, right? Communication, right? Filmmaking, cinematography, these are all forms of creative expression. So they all come under arts, right? So what is it that influences your choices? The factors that go into choosing a career, your location, right? Definitely influences. See, generally, pathingana, there are countries, I mean, there are cities where there are big factories, right? Maybe there's a sugarcane factory, or maybe there is a coal processing factory. You see, by default, most of the children who study there or who live there want to work in that factory in some position or the other, because location is playing an influence. Adhe mari, if you see in the coastal areas, desalination plants, desalination means you're trying to extract salt, right? Salination plants lala work pannungarda avaloda objective. Mines kitaka pathina, they'll all want to become mine engineers. So there are certain location influence professions. Let's leave that. Let's try to go to technology. Silicon Valley, right? Silicon Valley la pathina, it's the hub of all startups and technology firms. People want to all jump into the profession, right? Everyone wants to become a technologist. So that is why I say location influences. Qualifications, yes. If you have the right qualifications, the right college degree, then you are skilled enough to perform the job. Contacts, very much so. To get a job, you need to know some people in the industry. You need to understand how they do their job. That will help you get ahead of the others. Your personality, we saw, right? Are you determined? Are you cautious? Are you outgoing? Are you calm? Right? Judges, feelers, thinkers, extroverts, introverts, all these things determine the choice of a career. Because in a career, as we saw, different kinds of personalities are expected. Not all careers require the same set of attributes, right? Next, we are also going to look at your interests, right? Interests in terms of, are you a creative person? Are you a social person? Are you outdoor and active? Are you scientific, right? Values and motivations, we saw just now. What are the values that you have? Security, money, work-life balance, helping others. You know, we saw leadership, power, so many values that you guys mentioned. Your skills, are you good at communication, problem solving, teamwork, computing, organizing? So these are all the things that play a factor in determining your career, right? So you should know that these are the important factors, and not how much a career pays and what are the countries you can visit by taking the job, and what everyone else is doing, and how fast you can get a promotion, and what is your neighbor doing, right? These are not the things that you should be thinking about. And this, on the contrary, whatever is shown in this slide, are the factors that you need to take into consideration when you make a decision about your career, right? Now, scope after arts. If you take an arts stream, right, what is the courses offered, and how can you take, you know, what does it mean to take these courses? Someone asked me about political science, right? There's psychology, anthropology, right? Literature, actuarial science. Actuarial science means risk assessment, right? Assessing the risk in various. So it uses statistics and probability to be able to understand what are the risks, financial risks associated with various financial instruments, right? Actuarial science. So there are so many other streams that you can specialize in this. Geography, education, econometrics. Again, it is the implication of a lot of mathematical and computational principles to economies. So then there's rural development, there's economics with public finance and trade, right? These are linguistics, study of languages, philosophy, right? Political science, we already saw. Psychology, studying the mind. Sociology, studying human behavior, right? Literature. So careers after BA, you can become any one of this: anthropologist, actuary, archaeologist, economist, educationist, geographer, historian, right? So on and so forth. You can have a good career in public administration, right? Public administration, any public government official, right? Immense scope after higher studies in the respective subject, right? Because these are extremely specific subjects and qualifications. So it would help if you have a higher study in this, right? Okay. Now, there are some vocational subjects in this as well, which are very specific to certain jobs: social work, mass communication, journalism, investment analysis, population studies, travel and tourism, health psychology, planning and development studies, secretarial practice, food, nutrition and dietetics, right? These are some of the things that you can do. Now, after commerce, what are the courses that you can do after commerce? Degrees that you can take are BCom, BBA, BBM, right? You can specialize in financial accounting and auditing, auditing and cost accounting, banking and finance, taxation, actuarial science, company secretarial practice, business management, foreign trade practice and procedures, CA, right, ICWA, CS. Now, careers in, after studies in commerce, you can be an accountant, you can be a banker, you can be a business manager, right? I told you commerce essentially involves managing various aspects of the business, whether it's financial, marketing, operations, right? Sales, so many other aspects of the business, they all come under commerce, MCOM, MBA, CA, CFA, so on and so forth, right? Graduate courses in various vocational subjects, some other courses that are available, advertising, right? That's an important field, computer programming. Computer programming is not an ideal thing here. I mean, computer programming can be taken as a commerce subject when it's not very scientific. They just learn certain basic aspects, right? So it's a very dicey way of looking at it. Market research, taxation, entrepreneurship, investment analysis, portfolio management. Okay, portfolio management is a very complicated thing to explain, but I'll just try to tell you a very simplistic picture of it, right? Supposing you have 100 rupees, okay? And supposing you have two companies that are there in the market. Company A is a technology company. It's doing very well. So the profits in the company are going to go up. Now, when you buy a share in a company, it means you own a part of the company, right? Supposing the company is making 1,000 rupees and the company is owned by 10 people equally. Then how much money would each person get? 1,000 by 10, which is 100. Right? Each person will be entitled to 100 rupees of the profit made, right? So, but another company exists which makes 5,000 rupees profit year on year, and there are only two owners. So that means each owner will get 2,500 rupees of the profit, right? So, but in the IDE 100 rupees, you can invest in both the companies to get a part of each company, right? That means portfolio management. So you're managing the amount of money that you have. You're splitting it into smaller parts and you're investing it in different opportunities so that you can increase the money. That's called a portfolio. Only portfolio na multiple things, right? Multiple opportunities, right? Which you're managing to ensure that you maximize the output from it, maximize the amount of money that you earn from it, right? So entrepreneurship, having your own business, understanding how to set up a business, advertising, right? Company secretaryship, right? These are, playing the role of a secretary or to understand a firm's business, right? Economic systems, export marketing, right? Export import is another major aspect. Market research. What does it mean by market research? When you understand a market, supposing I say tomorrow I want to sell, iPhones in Tirunelveli. Okay. First of all, does Tirunelveli have the right set of people to sell iPhones to? Are people interested in iPhones? Do people want to have different kinds of phones? How many people own a phone? How many people have the affordability to buy an iPhone? Is there internet service providers properly in place, right? All these things are information about the market in which I'm going to sell my product, right? This is called market research. When you understand the market, right, in which you're going to sell your product or service, then you can sell it to the right audience. You cannot sell the product. For example, if I'm going to a village where there is no proper construction and I'm an AC company, do you think they're going to buy my ACs? Students, come on.
No.
Go to a village.
No, sir. No, sir.
AC ka AC na or building ஒழுங்கா வேணும். Electric connection ஒழுங்கா வேணும். அப்பதான் AC போட முடியும். So I should know my audience. How do I know my audience? That is through market research. Right? You understand the market and see if your product can be sold in that particular market. Finance and accounts has a lot of different positions. I won't go into this because it's very deep and may confuse you because you may not know the right set of terms here. Some of the things that you should know: stock broker, people who basically use other people's money to invest in companies and buy shares or stocks in them so that the money can increase in amount, it can multiply, right? Likewise, bankers, people who are associated with banking, right, can be investment banking or consumer banking. Investment banking is when they deal with stocks, bonds, and so on. Consumer banking is when you give your money in a bank, you put it there, and they loan out your money and give you an interest on the money. Right? That's consumer banking. And there's venture capital. Yeah, Solomon.
What does mean by forex dealer?
Okay, forex means foreign exchange. Okay, foreign exchange na enna appadina, say for example, what is the currency of US dollars, right? In India, it's Indian rupee. Now, how many rupees make $1? As on date, somewhere around 75 or something like that. Right? So, ipo in the exchange, this is called an exchange rate. Right? An exchange rate is how many of your currency equals one of the other currency, or how many of the other currency equals one of your currency. Anyway, right? So this is called the exchange rate. Forex dealer is a person who trades in currencies. If, for example, இது வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளா சொல்றேன். சப்போசிங் ஒரு கண்ட்ரியோட கரன்சி வேல்யூ எப்படி கண்டுபிடிப்பீங்கன்னா, அந்த கண்ட்ரில how much is the development that is happening, how much of commerce, how many businesses are opening, how many people are employed, how many people are earning money, what is the rate at which infrastructure is improving in the country, எவ்வளோ roads, எவ்வளோ connectivity, எவ்வளோ communication systems, எவ்வளோ அட்வான்ஸ்டா ஒரு கண்ட்ரி இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது தான் அதோட கரன்சியோட ஸ்ட்ரெங்தாவும் மாறும். அதனால தான் US has such a high strength of its currency because it's an advanced economy, right? ஸோ இப்போ நான் நாளைக்கு வந்து இந்தோனேஷியால ஏதோ ஒரு பெரிய அட்வான்ஸ்மெண்ட் வரப்போகுது. ஓகே, இன்னி தேதிக்கு இந்தோனேஷியாவோட கரன்சி இஸ் வெரி வீக். Say for example, I'm not even sure exactly what is the current exchange rate. It's a very, very weak currency, right? So if I'm going to say, okay, today I'm going to buy a lot of Indonesian currency and keep it with me. I'm going to give a very little Indian rupees and buy a lot of Indonesian currency and keep it. I know that Indonesia is going to become a better country because there's a lot of promise for progress. So as they become a better country, their currency is going to increase in value. Yeah, up exchange rate koreyum. Students, are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Exchange rate koreyum. அப்ப நான் முன்னாடியே வாங்கி வெச்ச கரன்சியோட வேல்யூ இப்ப கூடி ஆயிடும். Yeah, whatever currency I got when Indonesia is an ordinary country with a very poor exchange rate will now become a very valuable currency because now Indonesia has a very high exchange rate. Correct? So that is forex dealing. That is when you know which place, which currency is going to improve, which value is going to go up, which value is going to go down, and you invest beforehand so that you can make profits. Right? இது வந்து ரொம்ப சிம்பிள். தங்கம் வாங்கி வச்சு முன்னாடியே வாங்கி வச்சுட்டா விலை ஏறிடுச்சுன்னா that means you're making a profit, right? அந்த மாதிரி தான். Do you understand ma forex dealer na enna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right, fine. So the other positions I'm deliberately not explaining because it's a bit too complicated. Another thing which I think you guys can understand is venture capitalist. Venture capitalist means if nariya companies varudhu, startups varudhu, yeah. Supposing unga kitta you have about 1,00,000 of rupees and you're not sure how you want to spend that. A company comes and tells you, sir, you buy 50% of the shares in our company in exchange for 1,00,000 rupees. And we assure you that every year we'll make a profit of 50 lakh rupees, right? Appo 50% நீங்க own பண்ணீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு 25 lakhs, இல்லையா? அப்போ வெறும் 1 lakh இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணா உங்களுக்கு வருஷம் 25 lakhs வர ப்ராமிஸோட அவங்க உங்க பணத்தை எடுத்துக்கிறாங்க. So you become a venture capitalist. You have money that you invest in companies in exchange for profit because the companies are going to do well. You understand this, guys? Venture capitalist?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So science appuram pandra options ellaam they are very well known. You have physics, chemistry, mathematics, geology, statistics, biochemistry, computer science. These are the BSc courses that you can take. Information technology, electronics, industrial chemistry, polymer chemistry, drugs and dyes, operation research, environmental science, heavy and fine chemicals, computer programming. So all these are options for the science stream, people who choose physics, chemistry, mathematics. Fourth one can be biology or computer, it doesn't matter, right? Then engineering degree la pathina, there's electrical, mechanical, electronics, civil, computer science, aeronautical and aerospace engineering, automobile engineering, biochemical, biomedical, biotechnology engineering. Then you have industrial biotechnology, chemical technology, dairy and food, telecommunication, metallurgy. Does anyone know what metallurgy is? Metallurgy na enna theriyuma? Guys,
No, sir.
Really? You should have read it in your science lesson. Metallurgy na. What does metallurgy mean? Guys, I also went through it. No.
Metals.
Ennadu?
Metals. Studying about metals.
Studying about metals and their extraction, right? That is metallurgy.
Yes.
When you study about extraction of metals. You don't have that chapter, guys, metal extraction? Yeah.
No, sir.
So metallurgy is the study of extracting metals from their ores. Do you know what an ore is? Ore na mineral na.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how do you extract a metal from its ore? The science of that is metallurgy, right? Mining, ocean engineering, petrochemical industry, petroleum, pharmaceutical, printing, right? These are some different areas that you can pursue into after taking a degree or a diploma in engineering and technology. We already mentioned all the different streams of engineering. Right. So this covers the same thing. Options after the science stream, zoology, botany, microbiology, these are some of the other further specializations. Then we have horticulture. Does anyone know what horticulture is? Horticultural Society.
Yes, sir.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Anyone wants to try?
Gardening.
Yes. So it's basically a science of of producing and of developing and marketing high use value crops, basically those that are cultivated for food or as ornamental plants like flowering plants and so on. Right? It's a science that helps you understand how you can develop crops. So marine science, environmental science, right? Industrial biochemistry, applied nutrition. These are all the different course options after the science stream, right? MBBS related degrees, right? Then MBBS le naraya different streams, veterinary science, animal husbandry, physiotherapy, nuclear medicine technology, respiratory therapy, right? There are so many different aspects of medicine, right? Healthcare, we know all these, usual healthcare options that we have: a doctor, a cardiologist, a dentist. Do you know what is an endocrinologist do? Anyone wants to try? I'm sure you would have heard of this word.
What, sir?
Endocrinologist. The fourth point. Do you know what they do? Try pani parunga. Endocrine gra vaartha enga kettirukkinga?
Hormones. Study of hormones.
Yeah, sir.
Yes, very good.
had
Study of hormones. Very good. So the endocrine system and the medicines that are related to the hormonal system or the endocrine system. Right? Occupational therapist. Do you know what a therapist does? Physiotherapist helps you in activating your muscles through exercises and remedial exercises. And a therapist can also be a psychological therapist. They can help you deal with your feelings and emotions. Plastic surgeon, speech therapist, people who can help improve speech impediments, right? So the field of healthcare is so diverse. Actually, one thing which you guys should know is today even engineers can become medical professionals because of the power of AI, right? Medical professionals doesn't necessarily mean doctors, right? People who assist in the delivery of healthcare can also be medical professionals. Like you can build an AI diagnosis. Do you know what AI is, guys? What is AI? What is the full form of AI?
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. Yes. So artificial intelligence is the ability of developing computers imbued with the power of thought as much as human beings can think and compute, right? So AI-based technology is evolving at such a rapid rate that it's starting to replace humans in so many fields, right? There are paintings which have been developed by AI that look exactly like it's painted by human beings. There are songs which are being composed by AI, right? Which are probably even better than human compositions. So AI is starting to dominate all fields, right? And we find it also increasingly being used in healthcare. Right, so that can also be an entry point for everyone. So technology is now becoming the entry point into many fields, right? Every field you name it relies on a technology. Food delivery startups, Zomato technology app your transportation startups, Uber technology. Look at all how technology has infiltrated all these industries and has become the core value delivery vehicle for these industries, right? Hotel industry, right? Hotel management, catering, right? Nutrition. These are some of the important, job portfolios that are associated with hotels, right? Housekeeping, right? Front office management. Biological sciences, we saw, this is a further description of that: agriculturist, biochemist, bioinformatics, biotechnologist, fishery science, forestry and wildlife, horticulturist, microbiologist, and so on. Architecture, another major profession, right? For this, you can pursue MArch after BArch, right? BArch is the bachelor's degree for architecture, right? You can pursue, this can be an extremely lucrative profession if you do it well. Right? You need to have chosen a science stream for this because mathematics is strongly required. Now, home science and related courses, this talks about food science and nutrition, family resource management, clothing and textile, extension and education, human development, and so on. Hospitality talks about hotels, air hostesses, guest relation executives, travel and tourism. Right? Management, this is all the positions that you can have in a company, right, to run a firm. Brand manager, business development manager, business manager, event manager, export manager, human resource development, right? People who take care of the employees, market research, I mentioned earlier, operation and logistics, how does the firm run and produce value? Retail manager, how does it sell right across the different retail stores? Rural manager, sales and marketing manager, technical manager, and so many positions that you can have as part of management. So there is media and communication, right? Cinematographer, making cinemas, copywriter, film editing, journalist, media planner, public relations executive, publishing executive, right? Visualizer, so many different roles that are coming up. But in short, right, I'd like to close by saying there are 4 P's that you guys need to keep in mind. There's purpose, there's passion, there's possibilities, and power. Right? You need to have a purpose. You need to know what you want to do. Right? Sharpen your mind. Think about it. What is your purpose? What is your calling in life? Passion. Develop a strong sense of passion. Right? It's important to do what you're doing with intensity, to really like it, to pursue it to the best of your abilities. Possibilities. Explore all the possibilities that are available, right, that are in front of you. Make use of opportunities that are thrown towards you. Make the best of what you can do with them. And power. That's extremely important. Any pursuit without power cannot succeed. So you need to have the determination and courage to brave all obstacles that come in your way, to pursue and power through so that you can reach your desired career destination. So with the 4 P's, purpose, passion, possibilities, and power, no goal is unrealizable in life, right? You can realize any goal that you wish to do. And the most important thing, right, of the career session that you want you guys to take away is always believe in yourself, right? It's extremely important that you believe in yourself, you understand yourself, and anything is possible, guys. Anyone can achieve anything, right? I'll tell you a short story while I close. How many of you have read the Mahabharata? How many of you have read that? Good. So in the Mahabharata, we have 2 characters I'd like to specifically talk about. There is Karna and there is Krishna. Right? Karna was the king, you all know. He was the first of the Pandavas, but he was given away by Kunti during his birth, and he grew up as the son of a charioteer. Right? And Krishna was also born to a queen, but because of the circumstances, he had to be raised by someone else who was part of the cowherd community, right? So both of them were meant to be rulers, but they grew up in poor circumstances, right? But what did Karna do when Karna was insulted, right? He was very talented naturally because he was the son of the sun god, right? So he was very good at archery. He was very good at doing things. And when people insulted him, Karna took offense. And what did Duryodhan do? Duryodhan offered him his kingdom. He gave him the Anga Pradesha. He made him the king of Anga. And Karna chose Duryodhana's side. Now, is Duryodhana a good person in Mahabharata?
No, sir. No, sir.
Now, why did Karna choose Duryodhana's side? It is because Duryodhana was the first one to give him recognition. He was the first one to offer him the hand of friendship when other people insulted him. Right? Let's take Krishna's situation. Krishna was born in the cowherd community. Did he choose any friends who offered him kingdoms for free? Did they give him anything, any lands, riches, anything for free? No. Krishna, however, built one of the most powerful kingdoms in ancient India, right? So the city of Dwaraka was so powerful that even the Kurus, that is the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they were afraid of Krishna and his military strength. Right? That was the power that Krishna built, not because of anyone else, not because of what was gifted to him or what was given to him, but because of his pure hard work, because of how much he toiled. Krishna was God. He was the incarnation of the Supreme Being. But still, he persisted through hard work. He did everything in his power, not just to uplift himself. He uplifted his entire community. People who were thought of as cowherds became the Yadava race, right? The Yadavas became a race of respected and powerful kings, all because of the toil and hard work of Krishna, right? So it is not as important that you choose the one that gives you quick recognition. but you should always choose hard work over everything. The person who works hard can accomplish anything, but the person who chooses quick gains, right, who wants to gain everything quickly, very easily, right, at the easiest opportunity, if they want to scale, then they will never become successful in the long run. What happened to Karna in the end? He died fighting for the wrong side, right? But what happened to Krishna? He's remembered as the god, right? As the person who brought dharma, who reinstated dharma in India, right? We worship him even today. We don't worship Karna. We just remember him for his generosity, but we worship Krishna. The reason we worship Krishna is because in spite of the life circumstances in which he was born, through his hard work and perspiration, he not only brought up himself, but also all those who were along with him in his cowherd community to transform them to galvanize them into the strongest kingdom that ancient India has ever seen, right? So that should be how we all are. We should never be Karnas. We should never choose the first person who gives us recognition. We should never choose the easiest way to doing something, because keep in mind, when you choose the easiest path, it comes with consequences, right? Whenever you choose what is easy and not what is right, then it always comes with consequences. But when you choose what is right and you persist, you perceive, and you ensure that you achieve the goal, not only for yourself, but also for others around you, then you can truly become a force to contend with. That is when people start respecting you. That is when you become more than your individual self, right? That is when people revere you as a god. The reason people revere Jesus, the reason people revere Moses, the reason people revere Prophet Muhammad is not because they just thought about themselves. They were not people who were thinking about their promotion at work or how they can earn some more money. They wanted to strive for the well-being of the humanity, right? Of all those around them. So that is why I want all of you to remember the example of Krishna and Karna. Always be like Krishna, right? You should always ensure that hard work is done, and it is not a substitute for anything. Nothing can substitute hard work, and hard work alone can bring you something. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, students, for the session today. I'd like to thank the management as well for having given me this extraordinary opportunity to address such a wonderful group of students. And I really hope that you guys benefited from the session and were able to understand various aspects, various different careers, how to think about it, what are the opportunities that are available in front of you, how do you assess yourself, right? How do you know about yourself? What are your strengths, your weaknesses, your skill sets, right? And what careers match your interests? So this is not just going to be one session, guys. Every week we are going to bring in speakers from different industries, from different professions amongst the list that you saw here. And you can interact with these speakers to understand how they work in their professions, what is their experience of working in that profession, how do you come to that state in life where they are today, what should you do, how do you make use of your opportunities, how do you plan your future. So the management has taken a great initiative to instate this process, right? This would involve you taking a lot of such sessions with many such speakers who can share valuable experiences with you, which can make you prepared well ahead of time to approach these opportunities with the right meticulous and proactive approach that is required today. Yeah. Thank you everyone. With this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. So over to you, Abhita ma'am, if you want to open up for any questions.
Yeah, wonderful session, Aditya. It was a great eye-opener for our students. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable discussion about the career choices. Thank you so much. I also thank everyone in the session for their cooperation, support, and active participation. Thank you so much, students.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yes.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
you,
or
sir.
doubts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.